all year we were looking at this offensive line, at least during the season, as like, man, they're really exceeding expectations. They're doing so much better than we thought. In fact, is it a good offensive line? And then this past week happened. You could argue that the offensive line was the biggest weakness on the offense this past week. So I'm asking you, is this just a 1 week overreaction, or is the offensive line overrated?
More towards overreaction, because the Saints, and I think I downgraded the Saints so much I'll look past them in terms of the defensive line and how good they were. Because, man, they were out there. Jimmy was, like, under pressure a majority of his snaps. I was like, what's going on? What the hell? What's going on? They couldn't run block. They could barely pass block. And it was crazy. So that's kind of a test to why Jimmy was having a struggle out there. But, no, I think it was just a 1 week overreaction thing. I think pretty much it kind of was consistent with what we've been seeing all year. Trent Williams was strong. The interior was relatively fine, which, they kind of got blew up here and there. And then McGlinchey has the one penalty, and then the other what are you doing, McGlinchey? So I think overall they were fine. Yeah.
Did Jake Brendel have his weekly penalty too? He's got 9.
I don't remember what else.
He's got 9 this year.
He has 9 this year.
9.
Okay.
9 times. You don't know what that's from.
That's pretty. I don't know where it's from. Is that an old person thing? I don't know.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off is the 80s.
Yeah, so I don't think they're overrated. They just had a bad outing. It was a bad matchup. I mean, you would have wished it was better because it was at home. Then the Saints had to travel versus you didn't have to travel over there for once, which is a rare occasion, as the Niners didn't have to go to New Orleans to play them down there. You would have liked it better, but I think I definitely overlooked how good that defensive line was. Which they've actually been pretty good for years and years.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Jordan and Marcus Davenport are both really good. I think it is a bit overrated, the offensive line, but I'm not saying it's bad. So when I say it's overrated, I feel like people were saying this is a really good offensive line. And I don't know that it is. I think it's it's good. It can function well. If it's facing a team that doesn't really have a pass rush, they'll be great. I mean, look, put it this way. The Niners are 18th in yards per carry this year. It's not because of the running backs. I mean, it seems like when they face a top-tier pass rush, they're not really they can't quite match up. Mm-hmm. Trent Williams can, but Aaron Banks got pushed around this past week. Jake Brendel, he's doing okay for a glorified backup. Spencer Burford's 21. Mike McGlinchey, we know. So I think if they face, like this week against Miami doesn't have a great pass rush. Oh, they did add Bradley Chubb. But the Niners offensive line, it could hold its own this week. But then the next week against Tampa has a really good pass rush. Philly has a really good pass rush eventually. So I'm not sure how the Niners will match up against those teams. But so that's why I would say it's a little overrated. I mean, it is the concern. And when the Niners season has ended the last, in the Super Bowl, fourth quarter, NFC Championship, fourth quarter, yeah, Kyle melted down and Jimmy melted down, but that offensive line was terrible in both instances. Yeah. And
the interior,
I don't know. I kind of expect that to happen at some point. The Niners can mask it a lot with their coach and their scheme and Jimmy's quick release, but eventually they got to block someone good at a crucial moment. I don't know if they can do it.
I'm surprised we didn't see more quick screen game being dialed into or abused by Kyle. Cause it's Kyle's the one time that you don't call as many screens that you had in the past that didn't work. Why not call it now when the pass rush is really decimating your quarterback?
To Dennis Allen's credit, it seemed like he had a lot of people at the line of scrimmage and calling a lot of man coverage. So, maybe it's tougher to call screens. I mean, really what Dennis Allen was doing was saying, I freaking dare you to throw down the field.
1,000%. That's what
man coverage, single high safeties, and Brandon Ayuk would be getting one-on-ones, winning, and Jimmy's I don't throw that pass.
But she was the only one that was winning again.
Of course. Yeah, you're right. Because that's not Jawan Jennings' game, and that's not Debo's game, or Kittle's at this point. But Ayuk, frankly, he's the kind of guy who could put up 1,600 receiving yards in a season. He could be putting up 100 yards a game if he was on a team with a quarterback who would throw it down the field. And it's crazy. But we're talking about the offensive line right now. Anyway, I think it's not bad. It's not bad, and it should be able to.
Yeah, it's not top 3 or 5 like it was being touted out, especially because after last week, what did the Niners send out to everyone saying that was the 4th game without a sack by the 49ers offensive line allowed all year, which I wonder what the other 3 games were off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of like who's it against, like because Niners haven't really faced any like top of the line, top notch defensive line. It's like if they have one premier pass rusher that's like, oh my god, this guy is a beast, like an Aaron Donald. It's like, okay, you know what? That's fine because who else is around there? Leonard Floyd,
right? The Rams don't have a great pass rush this year. To your point,
they don't have a great defensive line overall.
No, I think the best pass rushes the Niners have faced this year are New Orleans and Kansas City, who both made the Niners offense look like, out of rhythm. And in both cases, the Niners were struggling to score in the red zone. Well, if you get to the 3-yard line and you can't win the line of scrimmage, you're getting pushed around. That's a problem. And again, I mean, don't just look at the pass protection numbers, the sacks. Look at the rushing production. You got all these good running backs on this team, and you're 18th in yards per carry. It's hard to fathom. So I think that's partially what's happening. And Jake Brendel's doing an admirable job. It's hard to knock him, but 9 penalties, and I don't know. Eventually, this could get bad. So
he needs to clean that up.
He's got to clean that up.
I didn't realize it was 9. It felt like 5.
I know. Well, McGlinchey's got 5 holding penalties already. That's already a career high.
So what are when you looked at the penalties, what exactly were they? Was it just a mix of everything? Like
for Brendel, it's a mix of everything. For I can look it up for you. I'll do it in a second. For McGlinchey, it's just holding.
Because what else could Brendel be? It's like false start. What? No, actually, not even false start. He's the center. It could be a false start, but that's not kind of uncommon. Holding, hands to the face. Does he ever get illegal man upfield when he's doing the downfield when he's doing the RPO? It has to be those two.
He's got 4 holding penalties, 2 false starts.
He doesn't have a false start.
Why are they saying he's got 7 penalties? Man, they're lying to me, man. Man, maybe I gave him too much. Now they're saying 7. Anyway, Jake Brendel, step it up.
Still a lot.
I don't know. Okay, still a lot. Moving on. Joshua says biggest threat to the Niners equals the Niners.
Yes, always. Always.
Yeah. But it's not. But that acts like they're the best team in the league by far. Like, no, I wouldn't say that. There are other teams that are in their tier. They're not like a juggernaut. They're a good team.
Yeah, you're true. That would say they're the best team. That would insinuate that, which they're really not.
Like, are they definitely way better than Philly? I wouldn't say that.
No, but I would say is that if they don't shoot themselves, whether it's like poor play calling, poor execution, penalties, whatever's like really holding them back, then they can't really be at level or just above that opponent. Like 13-0, like, okay, I'll give the Saints credit because again, I really like looked past them and like felt them give them little brother syndrome. But yeah, it kind of also felt like the Niners weren't almost giving it their best or doing their best, especially offensively.
But at least they didn't turn the ball over.
Dude, we know you could do better. Why can't you do? Right. Can we get just a little better more from you guys?
But at least they didn't turn the ball over, which is big. They've allowed their defense to win the game, and like even though their offense still isn't clicking, you could give Jimmy credit for managing the game last month, which is something we asked him to do. So it pains me to give Jimmy credit about anything. Look at my face right now. Not enjoying this. Moonman says, Grant, this is going to be the first time Kyle going against his former assistant. How many touches do you think Mason will get? Yo. What? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I'm not saying that. How many touches Jordan Mason
I think he's telling me in my country. Is that guy Saudi Arabian? Because they're playing Saudi Arabia right in like 11 o'clock.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that why the Niners moved up their practice schedule? I don't know.